Hello and welcome to When Will It End? Boston on the Road dish. Here we are sitting in beautiful, do you want me to mention your neighborhood? Is this a neighborhood or a town? I don't even know.
I don't know, man.
Okay.
I already told you, I don't know.
We are near Boston.
So it's the zip code.
Okay.
I'll tell you the zip code.
Okay, fire away.
God, I don't even know.
Oh, this is good.
Zero.
You know where you live, right?
02131.
Okay, beautiful.
Which is Roslindale, but then when you like put it into a Amazon or one of those like smart things where it says, is this actually your address, you fucking idiot? It's changed it to Boston sometimes. So I believe this is Boston.
Okay, we may be in Boston.
Yeah.
There's a strong chance we're in Boston, but it's not definite.
Yeah, we're definitely near Boston. I think most people consider this to be part of the Boston area.
The greater Boston area.
Sure, the GBA.
The metro Boston area.
The MBA.
We walked by a tea stop.
Yeah.
On the way back to and from the coffee shop.
Where we're just giving people clues so they can come find me.
We could think of an elaborate
Actually, you know
riddle.
what? This would really just fuck over my roommate because by the time this airs, I will have moved out of this house.
Oh, so we can get a lot more explicit about where we are.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. So yes, we for this series, of course, we've done a lot of talk about doing Die Hard, but we said, you know what? What if we did Die Hard of the Ocean? Ocean Die Hard.
Wait, so who's John? The shark?
No, John. Well, John is like an emotionally hollow, toxic man. I guess could be any of the main characters of Jaws.
Yeah, but Jaws is the only one that continues through all the series, I think.
I guess. Okay, you know what? You're right. Honestly, Bruce Willis could play Jaws.
Oh my god,
I would watch the shit out of that.
That'd be so. Wait, but just not even
Jaws.
like CGI, just him swimming through the ocean.
I'm a shark from Jersey.
Yeah, I don't like my wife.
This is a great wife-hating movie, which is great.
Yeah, and actually so is Die Hard. So
yeah.
There are some parallels definitely between Jaws and Die Hard, but we can't. We got it. This is the height of summer.
It's the height of summer, and you know what? Speaking of height, we're at the top here. This is When Will It End? A podcast where two friends who may or may not be in Boston watch an entire film series, and we try to gauge over the course of that series, are each subsequent title from the first adding or detracting from the world the first establishes?
Yeah. And I'm excited for this one because I feel like every time we're so young in this podcast. This is what, series 5, 4?
5, I believe, or if not more.
We're young. So like this is a first. This is a first for the podcast where we're watching a franchise that was unexpected.
Right. The explosion of Jaws and its cultural impact made sequels completely like inevitable, and yet clearly watching this, obviously big old spoiler here. And actually, do you want to introduce your...
Yeah. So I created a new term.
This is big.
It's called...
It's really bad, which makes it even...
it's really good. It's called Spielberg.
Oh, boy.
Alert.
Yeah.
It's when you spoil a Spielberg movie.
Just everyone let wash over you for a minute. Is it sinking in? Yeah. Spoilberg, yes.
Spoilberg. I like it because then you can do hashtag Spoilberg alert.
And honestly, I think people needed a way, our society needed a function to deal with that problem, and you've just solved that. So
it was sort of a Spielberg, a penicillin, sort of, a pancake, where the invention was through accident. Because I just typed in Spoilberg instead of Spielberg, and I looked at it and I said, gold.
Most people don't know Charles the way I do. He does I love gold. He does compare himself to Dr. Jonas Salk on a regular basis. So this is not new for me.
Yeah, mostly in my attire, but this is the first time where I've actually...
You've also said sexually, you're the Jonas Salk of fucking.
Yeah.
And Dr. Jonas Salk, if you're listening, I'm so sorry.
I'm not sorry. Thank you so much.
But yes, to get to a Spoilberg, they leave a big old... It's 2 of the 3 main characters survive the movie.
Right.
Which I would argue is a huge problem with this movie.
All right, well, let's start closer. We were talking about this series because I think that's interesting that we basically up until... Because when I was a kid, I always thought of sequels as being bad. And Jaws, I think, is perhaps the first... We'd have to do research, which we don't like to do. But without doing any research, we might go and say that Jaws was the first one that created the franchise where first one good, all of the sequels bad. And I think that lasted for a very long time. Wasn't that a thing in your childhood?
Well, I think growing up in the Joel Schumacher era of the 90s where I think people associated sequels with these are completely unnecessary and they're just going to try to surprise you with how over the top they are in successive, sort of farts, so to speak.
And so Jaws was like an accidental perhaps everyone says it's the first blockbuster. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think it's definitely the first spawner of bad sequels.
It's one of the first engines for like, we just got to keep this ship going forward.
Right.
Hey, like ship like Orca in the movie.
Sure.
In the movie,
Yeah.
they have a ship.
Even though it's
we're gonna need a
falling
bigger.
apart.
We're gonna need a bigger sequel. We're gonna need a bigger sequel.
We're gonna need a bigger sequel.
We're gonna need a
Oh, that's
sequel,
good.
bigger
I
sequel.
think that's the name of the second movie.
Yeah, it's Jaws 2: We're gonna need a bigger sequel.
That's really good. Why
That's
didn't they
pretty
do
good.
that? But yeah, so I'm excited to just sort of think about this as a standalone movie because all the other movies we've watched so far first movie's been world building, knowing that they'll be making more. This is the first one where I don't think Spielberg had any plans. Maybe he did, but he's not involved in any of the other ones. So it's like he probably just made this movie that he wanted to make. And then it sort of spiraled from there, out of his control.
Yeah, and I think about how you talk about world building. This is a very funny world because like it's a beach town and the ocean. So there's like really, we're not in fucking Shrek land.
No.
We're not in time traveling sexy super agent land. We're not in Maze land. We're not in outer space. We're like on the beach, which is like, you don't have to do a lot of heavy lifting to establish what the beach is.
But you know what they do? A lot of heavy lifting to establish what the beach is.
We definitely like the first half of this movie is essentially part of what makes this movie so strange and bifurcated is that the first half is like the sort of municipal drama of like handling a crisis in a small beach tourism dependent community.
Right.
And then the second half is just guys on a boat having a good old time.
Yeah. And there's a lot of talk about islanders and non-islanders and rich people and non-rich people. And this, I think, when we went into it, I was like, Josh, I'm not a huge fan of Spielberg, but I think Jaws might be his one true masterpiece. And after watching it again, I'm like, nope, this is maybe one of his worst, like most inconsistent movies.
Well, I mean, giving him the benefit of the doubt, this was early in his career. I will say, I was like, how long could Jaws be? Like 90 minutes? Like, no, it's 130 minutes. And I was like, that's fucking crazy.
It's crazy.
And rewatching it, like, we both came to a pretty quick conclusion. This needs to be trimmed so aggressively.
Yeah.
There's just so much in this movie that, look, okay, I think maybe it's the weird. We have the foresight of knowing Jaws, of knowing the big moments, of knowing its cultural impact. So watching this movie, the parts of this that are just fat that could get trimmed, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, the beach sequences go on for way too long. The entire sequence where like a guy dies, no one cares, but his son is shocked. And like, we already get that Jaws is a problem. And there's just like a 20-minute sequence where we're like, Jaws is still a problem. And it's like, we don't need that.
This happened multiple times too. When the boy dies, it becomes still a municipal fight where it's like, well, maybe it's just the one. Let's go kill that shark. And it doesn't come up till like 10 minutes later when the widow slaps him. She looked.
Yeah, the ages of, I think there's a lot of grandparents minding children in this, but it is very weird. Like some of the age disparity seems like.
How old was Spielberg when he made this?
Young. I mean, we did also talk about how weathered coastal people are.
Yeah.
I
mean, we are coastal. Well, no, you're not.
No, I am absolutely not.
That's right. I'm a coastal person.
Yeah, and honestly, you look like it.
I'm a coastal boat boy. I'm not weathered though. People compliment my skin all the time.
It's glowing even from here.
That's probably the eczema though. Right now I'm in a rough patch, man.
Hey, literally and figuratively.
Right.
We were talking about you had this succession of episodes we've done where you've been in different levels of distress.
Yeah. So now I'm in like allergies and eczema. I took my first big bike ride of the summer of the year, and now just my balls
The message here:
are itchy.
don't exercise.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Stay inside.
I was itchy. I swam in a river for the first time this summer yesterday.
Yeah.
And I definitely was like, time to shower that river off of me.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what was in that river.
Right. And I was sweaty, and I should have showered that off of me, but instead I went and saw Toy Story 4 in my sweaty underpants.
I'm going to actually ask that we put a moratorium on that. I have not seen it yet, and we might cover it on the podcast at some point.
Yeah, let's not talk about it.
We shan't. But yes, we're talking about coastal people and sweating. This was a runner in this movie for us. The way people are dressing in Jaws make it very difficult to tell what time of year it is. They're talking about how it's the summer season, but everyone's wearing a turtleneck, a jacket. Boots, gloves, an ascot, suspenders.
Well, I wonder if perhaps as a non-coastal person, I might be able to shed some light on this.
Oh, please, yes, weigh
Yeah,
in.
because I think what they're trying to say is when you go out on the water, it can get a little nippy.
It can get a little nippy, and let's just say people get nipped in this whole movie.
I meant the other.
I meant nipped by shark. The shark eat people.
Yeah. No, but perhaps. Well, first of all, you have all the beachgoers. Do you think Spielberg is just like, take your fucking clothes off, sit there and be, because it looks cold. Everyone looks cold in the movie.
It's great.
Yeah, it's really
I
fun.
feel like they shot it in like March or something.
Is Amity a real place?
It is a real place.
It is. So it's outside of New York.
I believe it's on Long Island.
A little island outside of New York City.
No, Long Island.
Oh, it's Long Island?
I think Amityville Point or whatever. It's an island in the movie. Amityville, the actual location, is a different place.
Right, that's what I'm wondering if it's a made-up town.
I think it's essentially a made-up town. Yeah.
Did you say a sexually made-up town?
It is. Well, let's talk about this movie.
Yeah.
The beauty of this movie and it being a 70s movie is that everyone does look very strict. The extra work and the casting and the outfitture is amazing. Everyone looks fucking weird. There's this incredibly weird detail in everyone's outfit that it's like there's so many colors and textures and like, I think a common complaint about a lot of movies nowadays is that there's like, for expediency, you'll sort of digitally composite a lot of background stuff and it's very samey. I'm thinking Snyder, I'm thinking the entire MCU basically. In this movie, everyone, I'm like, that person's got a story about a shark. And I want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
Everyone.
I think it's cool I think that is cool in this way because like, when kids, they're like, I don't want to watch that movie. It's old. And like, when I was younger, I'd be like, oh, come on, guys. It's an old movie. They're great. But watching it now, it's like, this looks like shit. But it also looks incredibly real, as though Spielberg just like found a bunch of ugly island people to just like throw in the background. And it's true. Like, it really does feel like you're watching an old movie, but it also feels like you're watching people from the 70s sitting on a beach.
Well, it's the mixture of like the verite and the classic. That is Spielberg in a nutshell, where he's like, I'm going to do all the hard cuts and all of the like grittiness of like a French movie, but I'm going to like also have this be very much like an archetypal Hollywood movie.
Yeah.
I think that's like the whole brilliance. Everyone talks about how like what in Lawrence of Arabia, that hard cut from the match was basically the first hard cut in a non-French movie, basically.
Yeah.
That's why that was so crazy to people.
And
so
it's
watching
weird 'cause
this,
it's a very loaded hard cut, which I don't really.
We're not talking about Lawrence of Arabia.
Why? You brought it up.
I'm saying that like what we see in Jaws that makes it a blockbuster is that really aggressive editing style mixed with this like really familiar Hollywood feeling.
Yeah.
And like what I like about it is that like he does this thing that mixes those two styles where there's lots of like really hyper deep in character, a ton of people talking at once, which he loves to do. But he mixes that like it could be like you could be watching Arsenic and Old Lace, but it's all overlaid and mixed up together. So it has those, again, a foot in both waters there, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, both waters, both shark waters.
Yeah, better watch out with this freaking water. There's a goddamn shark in it. Nope. But okay, we're talking about the weird structure of this movie. You hit on this before. A child dies in this movie. Oh, hold on. We have to talk about this is from the get-go. This is a PG movie.
Yeah, I wanted to bring this up too.
And I got to tell you, at 29, watching this movie, it is mind-warping that this was PG.
Can I? I'm just gonna. You can keep talking. I'm just gonna quickly look up
scene one.
Why it's rated PG.
We're going to the MPAA. Okay, what's the first scene of the movie? It's like a naked woman who we very much see naked is ripped apart by a shark. Her body is discovered, and it's so upsetting people like puke, basically. Later, a child is eaten.
There's so much shit where we're just like...
A corpse. I think probably the scariest moment in the movie is the jump scare of Dreyfus discovering the corpse in that guy's boat at night. We see Quinn get just shredded. There's just like limbs and gore and like... It's astonishing this was PG. I'm blown away.
Actually, if you hold the presses...
I will go ahead and the presses are held.
I'm on mentalfloss.com.
The finest of websites.
I love this website. It's just got a lot of cool information all numbered out.
Thank you for adding a pitch for Mental Floss to this.
Yeah, I mean, when I used to work for the Coolidge, I used Mental Floss all the time because I didn't have to do very much. It's just numbered things.
Hey, people, listicles. Who knew?
I love them.
Who knew?
Okay, number 19.
When I die, can you do a listicle about my life?
Yeah.
10 facts about Josh, my dead friend.
No, you can't do 10. I know.
6.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 6 is good.
Good round number.
Basically, you can't do an even number. You usually do a prime number, like 9.
Why?
Right. not 9. That's not Prime. Fuck.
No one knows what Prime is
7.
anymore.
7.
Hey, all the kids listening, they're like, "Oh, you mean Amazon Prime?"
Yeah. Fuck.
Because Bezos is daddy. Okay, go ahead.
So number 19 of this Mental Floss article about the 20 something facts about Jaws that make Jaws.
Jesus.
Yeah, but number 19. Despite all the bloody shark attacks, the movie is rated PG. So first off, we're not the first ones to notice this, which sucks.
I think everyone noticed it in the first scene where a naked woman is eaten.
Yeah, I think most people didn't. I think they just noticed the naked woman.
I guess after Vietnam, that was like, well, you know.
Yeah. Jaws was initially rated R by the MPAA.
Duh.
But after some of the more gruesome frames of the shot showing the severed leg of the man attacked by the shark in the estuary. Wow. Great. This is really good writing at Mental Floss.
Yeah, they used a term.
Listen to this. But after some of the more gruesome frames of the shot showing the severed leg of the man attacked by the shark in the estuary.
There's a poetry to that.
That is a really bad, but
now, is that
so
Blake?
bad.
Did Blake write that?
No, it's mental.
Do you think
Mental
Faulkner
Floss.
would have written listicles if he was alive today?
No. Those would be good.
Yeah.
Can we submit that to McSweeney's?
That's actually already the Onion bit where it's Ask a Faulknerian Man-Child. That's one of my favorite Onion bits.
Oh, so this is it. This is why it's rated PG.
Okay.
Because back in 75, is that when this movie came out?
Correct.
There was only the jump between G, PG, R.
Oh.
PG-13 was not created until after Spielberg's own film Indiana and Joan.
Whoa, hold on. Indiana and Joan. I'd watch that.
That's very good. He actually not only created the summer blockbuster, but he created this new middle ground where it got, like, it was still fun and kids oriented, but it was a little bit gory and scary. So he created PG-13.
I dare say he created the middle brow, my dear friend. He's a fool. He's a fool and a slob and a slurpad. Yeah, no, this is a wild, violent movie.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
But I guess that explains it. Thanks so much, mentalfloss.com.
Thanks, Mental Floss.
We learned so much there. First of all, how not to write a sentence.
What relationship do you have with Mental Floss? This is crazy.
None.
You say that, and yet you're like, they buoyed me in my professional attempts
None.
to. Shh, God.
Just mentalfloss.com.
Wildly violent movie. I guess the context is helpful there. But even this should be a hard R. I'm astonished it's not.
Oh my God.
R. I would not show my child Jaws.
No, it's like when I was a boy, I somehow convinced my parents to let me see Starship Troopers. I think I've told this story before, and like that traumatized me. Like literally, I came home and I was sitting in the back seat of the car and I couldn't talk, and I just went to my room and just like took a nap until it was bedtime, and then I went to bed.
Well, Paul Verhoeven should never be shown to children. I think.
Yeah, but I think this is also one of those.
Yeah, people think it's an innocuous movie over time because it's so ubiquitous, but like it's really fucked up. But okay, so we've touched on that. I want to talk about the real carnage in the movie, and that's the emotional carnage wreaked on the face of Ron Schneider.
Wait,
Roy Schnibler.
nope. I don't think there's an N. It's Roy Scheider.
Rog Spleider.
No,
Raw Spider. I have never gotten his name right.
it's Roy,
Roy,
like King,
King Roy,
like French King.
Roy. That's a terrible example.
Well, I was just giving you like a little etymology to help you remember.
I'm more into etymology. It's a
edamame?
snack. It's a snack to eat.
What is it? Yeah.
I would just love some edamame right now.
Yeah.
I can
sorry.
wait if you want to
I'm
go get
sorry.
some. Do you have any?
No, I don't.
This fucking sucks.
All I have is beer in the fridge.
It's not edamame, but I'll take it
You'll take some?
in a little bit.
Crack. Yeah.
Hey, listeners, note we've referenced alcohol. This will be a theme that reemerges in the movie Jars.
Yes. Stay tuned. So Roy
Yes.
Scheider.
Roy Scheider.
There you go. Just
Roy Scheider.
slap yourself on the back. That was
my face.
Yeah, that was your face.
Roy Scheider.
Yeah, you did it. Now you got
All right.
it. And then I think the King thing helped.
Yeah, it was very helpful. You were right. I was wrong. It was
you'll
a big
remember
mistake
that
on my part. I'll remember
until you
forever.
die.
Roy Scheider. Yeah, this movie's great because it's basically about someone who is shitty and broken and doesn't redeem himself and is garbage. And that's actually what makes me most excited for movie too. Is that like we have this guy who's like, he's a police chief. He seems so disconnected from his family, his wife and his kids. He's like married to his shitty job. He immediately gives up on doing the right thing. The second he knows it's a shark and doesn't do enough to stop it, leading to the kid's death, he's totally compromised.
Yeah.
And that's why this movie, if it ended with him dying, and actually just Dreyfus dying, because I wish he would die.
We'll talk about that in a
Yeah,
second.
yeah. That's the problem with this movie. He is compromised from the beginning.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going to talk about Dreyfus.
No, Dreyfus,
please,
we'll get into
please,
that.
please. We'll talk about that later.
From a production standpoint, that is the gaping
So that's
maw.
the problem with this movie.
Is that he is compromised from the beginning. He's not sympathetic. He's not a good husband. He's not a good police chief. He needs to die. He needs to redeem himself through a Christ-like act of,
No, disagree.
Redemption.
Strong disagree. I think his survival is what makes this movie so... If Spielberg had some fucking balls...
Classic anti-Semitism, but go ahead.
Yeah. Why, do you... What?
Jews have balls. Go ahead.
Okay, good. I thought so.
We do.
I just wasn't... I've never...
Well, most of us. Not everyone does.
Yeah, that's true.
Some Jews don't.
Some...
You know who you are. Put your hand up if you're listening and you're a Jew without balls. That's you. That's for you. This is your space and your time.
Put your hand down.
Okay, right.
All right. This is a movie that's really well done, showing a man that has no control of his life, is completely traumatized, and he's a fucking coward. He's a little baby boy man, and it's wonderful. Like the scene where there's so many scenes that are great. We'll talk about them. But I think his survival is perfect because if it hadn't been done in such a cheerful way and like an exuberant, victorious way, like watching a man, like I would have much preferred just him like stabbing the shark and then it's dead and then he's just like on the sinking boat and maybe it just cuts there. To me, in my mind, I don't even remember them swimming back home.
Well, again, we'll get into how shitty the ending of this movie is.
Well, like if he just kills the shark and he's just on this teetering boat and you just get like a nice long cut of him looking out into the sea.
That'd be beautiful.
Great ending.
No, I think we talked about this a little bit, where it's like you see in his face that like for him killing the shark has become everything to him.
Yeah.
And when the shark is dead, like his moment of like joy, you see it die on his face.
Yes.
His acting is incredible.
It's very quick. He's like woohoo, and then he just like.
Well, we talked about how this movie basically does extremely little to cleverly in the script tell us about these characters.
Mm-hmm.
Most of what we learn about these characters are things that they tell us.
Yes.
Except for Scheider.
Scheider's
He's
great.
the one character who basically is kind of a cipher the whole movie, despite being ostensibly the main character. And we watch all these things play out on his face, and it's kind of incredible because
He's incredible.
He's like so broken. His sense of self is so compromised. He's like, okay, again, let's talk about the novel.
Okay, yeah. Oh,
The novel
great.
really gets into a lot more about Brody that tells us much more about him
Why are
as a
you doing
character.
this?
Doing what?
I haven't read it.
I'm flexing because I don't want to. Can I boast now? When I was in middle school, I read the novel at summer camp.
Who's the rated?
Well, there's a lot of
R.
sex and violence in it.
Yeah,
so
there
I'm
actually
assuming
probably
it
was.
R, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a trash. It's like The Godfather. You read the book, and like, oh, that's like a trash ass book. Like, it's just trash.
How
ass.
long was it?
Oh, I don't know, like 400 pages. Of
Yeah,
trash.
exactly.
Yeah.
Some long ass bullshit
Well,
trash book.
in the book, like we have a sense of like his. Not only is it, the obvious lack of connection he has at home and his domesticity, like results in his wife having an affair with Dreyfus's character in the book.
Sure,
And
that makes sense.
right, of course it makes sense. Like he's just such a shadow of a person, and the book explores that a lot more. But because the script totally takes away any emotional complexity from the story, it's all on. Is it Roy?
Come on, dude. What's the French word for king?
Schneebler?
No, that's
Roy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Roy carries it all in his back. And I guess like we sort of like the running theme of alcoholism in this movie
Yeah.
is awesome.
It's awesome, and I'm actually very excited because I just came up with a point in my head while I wasn't really listening to what you were saying.
I do that all the time with you.
Yeah, I know. That's why this is a great podcast.
The secret to podcasting, if you're listening at home, you have to stare blankly at your co-host while they ramble on and think of other stuff.
Yeah,
And then like you're like, oh, that's the thing I'll say next.
but I have a really good idea.
And it is.
Thank you. I really
Okay,
needed
so a little queuing up here.
Yeah, come on, man. This is a podcast. You can't just snort off mic.
I mean, I just did.
I know, but like you need
I'm
to.
getting over some congestion. Give me a break. It's a triumphant snort.
I say, I have this great idea.
Well, Jiminy, tell me all about it.
That's it. That's the podcasting that I need.
Jim Crickets.
I have this theory about Spielberg.
Oh boy.
And Spoilberg alert.
Oh boy.
He's really fascinated by the absent father. And I think you see it in E.T., you see it in other movies, probably like Indiana Jones. This is the only Spielberg movie that I can think of where the absent father is the main character. And that's really interesting. Like, it's a lot of like ET's all perspective of the kids, and like you see the single mom. You don't even see the dad, or does the dad show up at the end or something?
No, he doesn't show up at the
Yeah,
end.
he's like totally gone from the movie, and you see like the leftovers.
He's like in Hawaii or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he moves with some lady to Hawaii, and like you see the leftovers of kids struggling to deal with absent fathers. This is a movie about a bad dad.
Yeah.
And like he is the main character, and it's awesome. And I think that's why when I saw it last time, first of all, you weren't sitting next to me complaining about a lot of shit, so I just sort of was more absorbed into the movie.
I asked you at the beginning if I could talk during Jars, and you said yes.
I said yes. I know.
So don't victim blame me.
Okay, fine.
I am a victim because the movie at parts was bad.
Okay,
Go ahead.
fine. Anyway, I remember leaving the last time I saw it, which not to can I boast a little bit?
Go ahead. I mean, what stopped you so far?
Nothing. Not you.
You know mentalfloss.com. You've worked
Yeah.
at the Coolidge.
So this was it. I saw it.
You
at
have
the
eczema.
I saw. Shut up. I'm really sensitive about my eczema.
You brought it up. The eczema.
I'm trying to like. Okay. Anyway. I saw it on 35 millimeter at the Coolidge on the big screen.
And the grain. Talk about the grain, the
The
warmth.
fucking. Oh god. You could just see it. You could see the faded loss of
faded
color.
loss of
You could see
color.
pink. You could see it not at all how Spielberg wanted you to see it.
It
So it's
wobbled.
so
Did it
good.
wobble at some point?
Oh my god, you could see it. It's so good.
Nice. That's so
God.
beautiful.
Anyway.
Film is the most beautiful art form. Go ahead. Yeah.
Light, shadow, action. I left that movie being like, this is an amazing movie about a broken man. And then watching it this time, it's like there's like an hour of bullshit, extra shark shit that's so fucking boring and so badly made. This movie's not very good. But at the heart of the movie, it's an incredible depiction of a broken man. And Spielberg doesn't you don't even like the scene where they're comparing scars and like and Scheider just like pulls down his pants a little bit and looks at a little scar and then says nothing.
No, it's not even little. It looks fucked up. It looks like, okay, in that moment we see, so the whole movie he's like, I'm afraid of the water. I don't like the water. I can go in the water if I'm fucking wasted or in the company of people even more self-destructive than me who are also just begging to die. Again, this is a man who would rather drunkenly die at sea than be with his family. It's great. You know, he pulls down his pants from it. We see what looks like a horrible scar, clearly from some experience in the water. And he's just like, hey, I'm not going to talk about it.
It's so good.
It's
and that's
amazing.
when this movie succeeds. The point, my favorite part of this movie is when Scheider is drunk at dinner. I think he yells at his kid, tells him to shut up or something or go away. And then Dreyfuss shows up.
No, he makes his kid kiss him.
Oh,
That's
is
the
that
scene
that's
where
the scene where he's like playing with his hand?
His son is mirroring
yeah,
his
and then
actions. He's like, give me a kiss. Give daddy a kiss.
You said
and
that
I was joking
jokingly.
like, oh, they're going to kiss because they're leaning in. He's like, kiss me. And I'm like,
And he's like, no,
the
get
70s were wild.
So that happens, and then he's drinking his whiskey out of a pint glass. He's almost done. Dreyfuss shows up with 2 bottles of wine, and then he pours the wine into his unfinished whiskey glass, fills it up, and it's like, it's barely called. Dreyfuss is like, oh, you want to let that air? And his like really sweaty performance. You want to let that air? Nope, I guess you don't want to let
We
that
got to
air.
hold on to that because I got like 20 minutes on.
But anyway,
Jesus.
and that's this amazing scene where Dreyfuss is just like drinking wine mixed with whiskey because he doesn't give a fuck except for the alcohol.
Roy, not Dreyfuss. But no,
Sorry.
Also, I don't know who plays the wife, and it speaks to
I'm sorry.
us and
Yeah,
to
so
Spielberg about that. I'm bad. But seeing her acting where a guest comes over and she's like, my husband is drunk and actively binge drinking, and I now have to sort of politely manage having a guest over while my emotionally unreachable husband is like pounding whiskey. And like she does that really well. And again, I can't stress enough, in the book, they have an affair, her and Richard Dreyfuss, and you see it in the movie. It's like duh.
Oh yeah.
But like, oh god, I wish that was in that. It'd be so good.
I honestly sort of like just that dinner scene because I think that would honestly okay. So unless maybe they cut out an hour's worth of bullshit and throw in that drama with the affair, but like that scene where she like is alive talking to another person that isn't her sick, sad husband, like that works for me. It's like, whoa, you really get how she doesn't have to take care of somebody.
Right.
She can just be herself
She
and
can
talk
feel
to somebody.
like a human.
It was a really good scene. That scene rules. I love that scene from start to finish.
Well, watching
really
it
great
from your
filmmaking.
perspective, watching of this stuff happening around this like morbid thing that is Roy, Like that is great. Where it's like people are sort of making pleasantries around him, and he's just like a fucking black hole.
Dude, he's like picking at the fucking wine bottle while he's talking. It's like he is an incredible actor. And I was talking to my friend about this. It's like you have 3 stars. They're all given equal billing. And I bet if you talk to what's not a millennial? What's the newer one? What's the newer one?
The newer one?
Where there's new people now?
Oh, Gen Z.
Gen Z. If you asked any Gen Z people who Richard Dreyfuss is, who Roy Scheider is, and who Robert Shaw,
the great Robert Shaw,
who any of those 3, they'd be like, I don't know.
Well, we talked about Dreyfuss's career. Basically, this is absolutely the peak.
And this might be the time to talk about Dreyfuss.
Okay. We're going to save Robert Shaw because, again, I'm as much as I'm about to like fucking dunk on Dreyfuss, I'm literally going to whip it out and start stroking to Robert Shaw's performance in this movie, which is majestic, terrifying, and like transported from another universe into this movie. But Richard Dreyfuss's casting in this is a woeful mistake. They put the burden of essentially comic relief, and I think the idea is that we're sort of I think perversely. Okay, I'm a nerdy Jew. Spielberg is a nerdy Jew. Dreyfuss is a nerdy Jew. I think Spielberg is like, oh, this is like he's like a younger college guy. It's like fun, and he's going to be the guy we sort of sympathize with, and he's like the funny, quirky guy. Dreyfuss is awful in this movie.
Really bad.
For all of the gravitas that Scheider and Shaw generate from being like genuinely fractured, fascinating people with like rich lives, Dreyfuss is entirely on top. There's nothing going on underneath. He tries to cover up for his lack of depth as an actor by doing a lot of stuff. None of it works.
Yeah.
None of his cuteness lands. It is aged so poorly.
Yeah. He's aged poorly. Have you seen a picture?
He looks like a potato with fuzz on it.
He looks like a Nazi from like a video game, like Wolfenstein video game. Like the bad boss.
He looks like a melted candle person.
Yeah.
Which aging is tough. I'm not trying to dunk on that. I'm sorry, Richard. Whatever. That was cheap of me.
You earned it.
But he's terrible in this. I think for all the nuance and all the things that we're seeing in people's faces in this movie, we cut to Dreyfuss. He's mugging. He's like mugging the whole movie.
It's crazy.
And Shaw and Scheider are doing this work that's so minute and so brilliant and so carefully calibrated. And Dreyfuss is literally jolting around and throwing his hands around and yelling and like I don't believe any of it.
No. And this is what I hate about Spielberg. And maybe some people like this about Spielberg, but Spielberg's tone, it sucks. He doesn't know how to, like, he has a fucking dark movie on his hands. And this is like War of the Worlds, this is like Minority Report.
Schindler's List.
He loves.
There are joke parts in Schindler's List, which is crazy.
He goes into dark places, and his response is to like, it's either because he wants to make a little more money and like appeal to kids, or make like I don't know, but it's just like he has to make it light. And we're talking about this with the score by John Williams, like,
which is, by the way, everyone remembers
insanity.
The one moment where it's a good score. The score work in the latter half of this movie, where they're like, "We're about to hunt the shark."
It's so crazy.
It's like, what the fuck?
There's like this literally harrowing scene where they're like stabbing a shark and shooting barrels into it, and it's like, it's a song you would associate with like, oh, look at the barrels sliding down the water. Isn't this fun?
Right. So like between Williams' asinine scoring and, Dreyfuss's inane performance, like this movie, that the best parts of it are just neutered by that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to me. Or like, when also there's this, the great Robert Shaw monologue where he's like talking, he explains like, oh yeah, my thing with sharks, they fucking ate like 800 of my friends or whatever around me.
Dreyfuss is really good in that scene, I think.
Well, because he's not talking.
He's not talking as much, but even the scene, like where he's talking about his scars, like it works against Shaw.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's because he's playing drunk and he's like, oh, would a drunk person, would they be more subdued and not being a fucking jackass all the time? I don't know, but he really works in that scene. Everyone works in that scene. That scene is perfect.
That's a great scene. I'd say cut the score. That aside.
Yes.
There shouldn't be music under it. It drives me crazy.
It sucks.
I hate when like someone's like nailing a monologue and a cowardly director is like, well, this is going on a little long. Let's put some music under it. And it's like, no.
Shut up.
I want to just hear this person act. It's a movie.
Yeah.
It drove me crazy.
Yeah, that scene rules.
It does rule. I will say Dreyfuss shows up dressed like someone like people dress today, which is super funny. He's in his tuxedo, his like denim tuxedo and like a crew neck sweatshirt and a beanie.
I'm pretty sure my dad fashioned himself after Richard Dreyfuss from Jaws.
I think it's a generational thing where people think that he's charming because they're old and their brains don't work as well and the lead paint and Vietnam. But like, he's fucking awful.
Yeah.
Like they by giving him the role of like comic relief. They put in a burden that no one can carry. The movie's not fucking funny.
No.
There's funny moments, like I think at navigating the bureaucracy or navigating the sheer like idiotic, small town bullshit.
Yeah.
There's some cuteness to it, but like by and large, we don't need comic relief in this movie.
And to bring it back to Star Wars and JJ, which I think JJ is obviously a direct. Come on, man. I'm doing some good podcasting here.
You're not going to Star Wars is hack.
I'm sorry, Star Trek. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You scared the shit out of me.
I'm so sorry. No, that would have been bad.
If you started with The Force Awakens, I would have thrown him.
No. I'm saying JJ is obviously a direct descendant of Spielberg. With
Sure.
like, Super 8 is like basically a Spielberg movie made by JJ Abrams. He understands, like Star Trek, the first one, has some really nice light moments in a pretty twisted, dark movie. And like Chris whatever...
Pine.
Yeah, Chris Pine. He's funny, but like not in a way that Dreyfuss attempts to be funny. Like his personality and charisma is like it's fun to watch, but then you also have the like grief story and you have the fathers and the friendship. All the stories work with a little lightness. Spielberg doesn't understand that. He has a man like making weird faces at another man and thinking like that's a good call. When he goes,
yeah, it's so dumb. More.
I mean, I could do more, but most of it's silent.
Yeah,
Not good
it's quite
podcasting.
bad. Yeah, and also it's like according to lore and legend on the internet, Robert Shaw did not like Richard Dreyfuss, which is
Wow.
very understandable.
Yeah.
And I guess let's get into Shaw a little bit because that dynamic is really important to understand.
Yeah.
We are the 88th millionth people to mention this. The introduction of Robert Shaw in this movie as Quinn is one of the most amazing things I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah.
When everyone's talking about what to do with the shark, there's all this, that, and chatter and bickering. And all of a sudden, a man drags his shitty fucking gross fingernails down a chalkboard with a weirdly cartoonish drawing of a shark eating a person. Which
Do you
is
think he drew that?
That's a great question.
Like that's what I thought. He snuck in.
Well, I guess they set up that there's vandals in town making fun of the situation by vandalizing
so you think-
signs. So it could be
You think they
young
vandalized
vandals.
the meeting room where the boards? I mean, maybe.
I like that they're like, well, right at this meeting about a shark. Let's draw a shark.
Yeah.
I think that's good stuff. But no, Shaw drags his fingernails down the thing and then launches into this like, better kill that shark. That shark will kill everybody else.
That's
I won't do it
such
for
a
3.
bad
I'll do it for
Quinn.
10. I'll do it for this. I'll do it for that. I'm
That's
Shaw.
so good.
I'm going to do it.
You sound like
I got to kill that shark.
I don't know what.
I'm
you
doing the
said.
Pet Cemetery guy, basically.
Okay.
But like he's this like gnarly motherfucker who's just like, you got to kill
gotta
that
kill
fucking
that.
shark.
It could be for a little one. I'll go out in the sea for 3, but if you want me to kill it, 10.
Yeah, it's just like
10?
he launches into a dialogue with himself where he self-negotiates a number. And the best part, the guy who plays the mayor in the movie is wonderful. We love him. He's
Except for
great.
that one fucking scene.
Well, that's more Spielberg weakness.
More
where
Spielberg
we have to see like,
bullshit.
I shouldn't have done that or whatever. Fuck you. I like he's a scumbag.
I was doing it for this. For the sake of the
Again, we talked about this in the recasting
time.
of this. Ben Mendelsohn drenched in sweat as the mayor, just fucking
Honest- yeah.
pouring sweat in a seersucker suit. It'd be so good.
I think Ben Mendelsohn and Spielberg really do well together.
They do. He's
Yeah.
easily the shining star of Ready Player One, a movie that's better than Jaws. I'm gonna go ahead and say I liked it more than Jaws. Anyways,
Yeah, I think
but no,
you're right.
So then the mayor, after Shaw's like weird self dialogue in front of a room full of horrified people, the mayor's like, okay, thanks, man. We'll think about it. We'll take it under advisement.
It's so good.
Because but Shaw just like. It's cool because we don't really see a lot of him after. There's like a break in Shaw.
Yeah.
But it's the most indelible introduction of a character you can
So
see,
good.
where he just pops up and is like, "Sup, motherfuckers! I gotta kill that shark." You're like, "Well, duh, that guy's gonna kill the shark." Like, look at
Yeah,
him.
but I think it's also that response by the mayor is so beautiful because, like, if you're in a town meeting and the local crazy person shows up, you let them talk and then you go, "Okay,
Thanks,
And
bud.
Thanks." We know, you know what you said. The 88th million person has talked about Shaw, his introduction. I think we might be the first people to talk about his little gopher man and the dog.
Yes.
That dude rules. He doesn't have a single line of dialogue. Who is that? He's amazing.
There's a little greasy man with a dog who just like mutely follows around Shaw, and you're like, "Who the fuck is that guy? What's
Do you
his
think
deal?"
he was supposed to be like killed by the shark in a better version of the movie, and like he was like, oh, this is like the red shirt equivalent,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
and like he can be a person that gets killed on their voyage.
Maybe I want to like. I want to give Spielberg the benefit of the doubt and say that it's just a great bit of world building that he has like a minion.
I love that.
He's got a minion. He's like a weird little like thumb of a man.
He's tiny.
He looks like evil Elmer Fudd or like Twin Peaks,
Yeah, but has been starved
Right.
his whole life. Yeah, like he's very like covered. He's like got layers of grease.
Well, it's part of the casting and part of the outfit work in this, where it's like all these little Islander characters are fucking weird as shit and look strange and have stories to them. He's great.
Yeah,
and the little dog. Good dogs in the movie.
Yeah,
Brody's dog is great.
Oh, and the other dog gets at.
The dog does get Pippin. Pippin?
I believe that guy. He looked like he cared about his dog.
Was it the 30th beach scene or the 31st beach scene?
I think it was earlier. I think it was like 22.
I think this really made me realize that like beaches suck. I still hate the ocean. It's all garbage. I'm just like, people want to go to the beach. No, I'm going to a motherfucking river.
I had a great moment with Amy because this is our first summer together. Just started.
Me and Allison are on our second summer together.
All right. God.
Oh, listeners. Yeah, we have girlfriends now. Yeah.
So strong.
That's
Feel my
pretty
muscle.
good. Yeah, muscle good.
We had a good moment where we were like, well, it's a nice summer day. We both have the day off. Do you want to go to the beach? And then I was like, in my mind, I was like, not really. But, it's our first summer together. I was like, okay. And then apparently in her mind, she was also like, I don't really want to go to the beach. And we realized that we're not beach people.
That's great. That's so liberating.
It is so liberating. We don't have to pretend to like sitting where there's no shade, no firm ground. It's just sand. And then a cold bath of water that I don't want to go into.
Okay, also, the ocean is a sewer system, a mass grave, and, I don't know, a portal to a horrifying nightmare world we don't belong in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Last night you were like, I don't really want to watch it right now. Can we just go talk and go to bed? And I was like, fuck you, man.
No, hold on. Clarify. I didn't want to talk.
That's true. You just want to go to bed at 10:30 at night. But no, it's the fucking ocean's scary, man. I hate it. I don't really like ponds either. I know that there aren't quite as large things in lakes, but there are still things in lakes.
A swift-moving river is basically the only environment where I feel comfortable being in the water for a long time, where I'm like, shit's moving, I can feel the bottom, it's nice.
I basically have come to a point in my life where I only jump off of things into water to then quickly scramble out.
Oh, yeah.
Like a rope swing or a tall cliff.
Sure. No, it's fun to do that. It's great.
That was like one of the moments where our friendships, like we had that summer where we jumped off things a few times, and that was really amazing.
Right. And honestly, it's funny to think about how those probably were the halcyon days of our youth already. Because at 29, I'm like, I don't know if I can jump off a big thing right now.
Oh, you could.
I probably could.
It's all gravity, man.
Hey, it's all gravity, baby.
Yeah, that's how it works. You just fall. Remember when Mel she like almost smashed her legs on the rock?
Yeah, that was terrifying.
I don't think she understood how terrifying that was.
Yeah, to be fair, I think it was Mel's fault.
Yes, because she didn't jump. Like, that's the whole thing is...
You need to propel yourself.
A little bit. You don't even have to do it too much, but just falling off a cliff is as dangerous as it sounds.
Right, one does not run to the edge to simply tip over.
Yeah.
Genuinely, one wants to move oneself forward. What we're trying to say is that, like, the ocean, it's like a weird thing where it's the whole point of a trip is to go to it, but you don't really want to touch it that much, basically, most of the time. So then everyone's like, you want to just be near it. And look, we talked about this last night. The science around sharks in this movie, I would say, is imperfect. I don't think sharks are... What, at one point they're like whistling. He's like, don't whistle. The sharks love the whistles. And you're like, I don't think sharks love whistles. But that being said...
The one thing about, I think, the way people swim is... Well, maybe not. Maybe I just learned that from Jaws. Maybe it's not true. Like how people swimming mimics a distressed fish.
Yeah, that sounds like Jaws science. I don't think that's
Jaws science. Yeah, I like that hashtag though. Hashtag Jaws science. Yeah,
Spielberg and Jaws science. This is a big day for us.
This is great, man.
Everyone listening is like, they're so good at podcasting.
Yeah, and hashtagging.
Hashtagging, so good. Right. So what we're saying is this is a lumpy, strange movie where parts of it work extremely well. And I think there's filmmaking at play where you're like, obviously this had a huge impact. I get that immediately.
Yeah.
And yet, like, you just watch it, and if you're anything like us, you want to just comb out all of this weird detritus that block it from being this thing.
Or like using a tick comb or like a flea comb. Get rid of the fleas.
Okay, so in the book...
Thank you.
There's all this continuity where, Dreyfuss's character cheats on Brody's wife. Brody confronts him and like strangles him at sea, and then like he ends up dying in the shark cage.
Yeah.
It's like, great, that makes sense. There's like, that character has, this movie ends in the most infuriating way possible, where first off, as opposed to in the book where he stabs the shark to death, the shark.
That is how he kills the shark. Yeah, that's so much better.
Right. But then of course in this movie, they're like, be careful, those, you fool. It's compressed air. If you touch those, they'll explode. And then someone goes, yeah, the shark might even eat them.
That's insane.
And that's exactly what happens.
Let's talk about that one more time.
It's so dumb.
Richard Dreyfuss pulls the wrong knot and drops.
Roy pulls the wrong knot and Dreyfuss flips out at him.
Sorry, Jesus.
Get this shit right, you fucking idiot.
Sorry, Roy.
You're ruining our fucking podcast.
Jesus, Roy pulls the wrong knot, drops the explode tank. Dreyfuss, flailing his arms, comes in and says, "You fool, those could explode!" And then Mr. Drunken Seaman says, "Oh, the shark just might eat it."
I saw you eat a rocking chair once.
It's like, what the fuck? You just explained the ending to us.
Yeah.
You fucking asshole.
Also, you know what like an adult would do?
Spielberg alert.
Have something that says air on the canister, cut to an insert of him reading that and realizing like you don't need dialogue to do that.
You know what? You can literally just not do anything, throw that thing in its mouth and blow it up.
Right.
We'll believe it because you just showed it to us.
It's not complicated.
It's like that scene in Near Dark, the Catherine Bigelow vampire movie, where they spend 2 minutes showing the main character learning how to drive a truck, because I'm not supposed to believe that this man knows how to drive a tractor trailer truck. It's like, I don't give a fuck if he, like, who gives a shit? Yeah, it's probably more hard than it seems, but
it seemed
do I give a shit? No, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to assume that it's like a normal car and he knows how to drive a normal car.
What if, man, shark vampire movie, that hasn't happened. That could be our thing.
I'm sure that's happened.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Everything that has happened.
The next Sharknado should be Sharknado. This time they're vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, genderless vampires.
Genderless?
There's androgynous vampires.
I mean, aren't sharks just naturally androgynous?
Wow, you would say that, wouldn't you?
I mean, I guess they're not, because androgynous means andro, man, right?
Right. Andro is man.
Yeah, and then
No,
drive.
that's not what that is.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's put a pin in that.
Andro is the etymological root for man. Like,
and then ancho is that kind of sauce that I like.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And anchovies are the little fishes.
So small, like an ocean, fish
So
ocean.
that could be it.
That's it.
Man, little
Anchovies,
fish.
man, little fishes, and they're vampires. And they come from the sky.
Androchovies.
This is good.
Androchovies.
And Spoilerberg. Yeah. So, okay, we're getting towards the end of the podcast here. I want to just hit on kind of a complicated question. The normal question on the show, you've read the title, is when will it end?
Yeah.
This movie definitely just ends. Oh, it's a terrible ending where they give the last line to Dreyfuss being like, they're just like paddling ashore after killing the shark. And by the way, when they kill the shark, I love this. There's chunks of shark just fly everywhere.
It's so good.
Sick. And Dreyfuss.
PG.
Well, if it ended on Roy's face, like looking hard, that would be one thing. No, we get this cute little dumb coda where they're swimming back to shore, and Dreyfuss and him are making cute little small talk, and they give Dreyfuss the last line where Roy's like, "I don't like the ocean," and Dreyfuss is like, "I can't imagine why," or something. It's like,
and it cuts.
Cuts to credit.
Cuts to the beach.
Cut to a wet shit.
It's
a pile of fucking wet shit.
And this is Spielberg problem. Minority Report has some of the grossest, grimiest shit ever put onto a Spielberg movie, and then it ends.
They're all
with
in sweaters.
3 mutants drinking tea in a house.
Yeah.
War of the Worlds. Son's dead, probably. Very likely that he would have survived the explosion or whatever. Then Tom Cruise comes back and finds his son.
Right.
Like, all this shit, Spielberg, he is a ballless.
Well, then also, like, you think about the post-Spielberg worlds, I think of Edge of Tomorrow, a movie that basically could have been perfect, and then they add again this stupid little convenient scene where Tom Cruise is alive and literally just like bursts and like starts laughing. And it's like, we don't need that.
No.
I don't understand. It's that kind of like being led to a feeling that is so transparent where it's like, I don't need that.
Yeah,
So anyways, what we're trying to say is it's an open-ended ending. People survive the movie. Are you looking, do you need, at this point, do you want to need a sequel? Are you looking forward to a sequel?
I mean, it depends. Like, I know nothing. I don't know what to expect. I'm sort of excited, yes. Because I think, is Richard Dreyfuss in the second one?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah, Roy is great. His performance is great. His character is great. I am excited to continue. I think we talked once before about like whether the world is important or the character is important. I'm really into the shark. Who gives a shit? I don't care, but like Roy Scheider and his character is really fascinating to me. I think it's great. I want to keep watching this.
I suppose perversely I'm on the same page. I like this character. He's so fucked up. I want to see like, what is he taking away from this experience? Is he going to be a better husband and father? Is he going to be even more like disconsolate and drawn off into this obsession with sharks?
Right. Are they going to, like, who directed? I don't even know, but like, yeah, are they going to take it
problem
farther down, or are they going to lift him up? Yeah.
My problem is the antagonist is a shark. And I'm like, oh, they're probably going to fight another shark. And the idea of watching a succession of shark fights. Oh, we didn't even talk about this. I'm deathly afraid of sharks, and I hated watching this because I truly hate sharks.
But you learned that it doesn't really look like a shark most of the time, so you're okay.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looked like a big tube.
The dead guy is still the scariest part of the movie.
Oh, yeah, with the eye?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you
so
remember
scary.
when I remember this movie, like the most traumatic moment when I was a kid was when Shaw gets bitten and blood. Like, that was the first time I'd ever seen blood come out of a man's mouth.
Mine was Kenneth Branagh's Henry V because it's like a cultural movie. My mom was like, watch this Shakespeare thing, and they stab a guy in the stomach so much as like vomiting blood.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Mom.
It still fucked my shit up.
Come
I
on,
think
Mom.
that's like ingrained in my brain and it really scared me.
Yeah, I remember thinking like that was like how people died. It was like as soon as you were dead, your just blood started coming out of your mouth.
That's how you'll die.
Yeah, you think so?
I do.
Cool.
I really
I mean,
do.
this is the coolest way to die.
Yeah. I like that when a filmmaker's like, how do we indicate that he's for sure dying? Oh, I know. He's vomiting blood.
And then he definitely just rolled over. He died real quick. That was good.
I like that, yeah, there isn't this big send-off to him. He's just killed in the most violent, upsetting, immediate way possible.
Really great.
Yeah.
His character's so good. He just like, it's like, oh, there's a shark outside. Let's run away. And then the boat tips over and he's like, no, help me. And then he just gets bit.
Yeah.
So good.
He's just like a fucked up, crazy, like medieval character and just dies like he lived.
Did you say that he was drunk, blackout drunk, while he was talking about his scar?
I did more reading. There was one take of that they couldn't use because he was blackout drunk during the description of what happened to his friends in World War II.
Okay.
But like, he drank a lot on the set of that movie and was drunk for a lot of the production and looks fucking awful in a
He
great
does.
way.
He looks like...
You believe him.
Yeah.
All of his little weird mannerisms, the way he crosses his legs, the way he like just strides around the ship.
Yeah.
The way God, he's so... You could just watch Shaw for hours.
I know.
This.
I'm glad he died in this movie, but I am a little sad that, like, if they make a spin-off, maybe a little series about him.
I'd watch a prequel series on Quinn for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Give me it all. We saw his horrifying shark hideout cave full of his shark shit.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm like, this is
Where he's
great.
boiling bones?
I want to see more like Shark Hunter adventures, that specifically Quinn.
But anyway, you were saying that you're sort of concerned that this is just going to be shark fighting 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, we frequently talk about how in movies like this, where conflict is at the core of these movies, you need a compelling villain to draw you through the story. Because if you're not watching like a sort of like 2-part evolution of the series, then you're putting a lot of weight on main characters to carry you through a lot of screen time, which not everyone can do. And in this case, we literally are going to be seeing a succession of sharks. And I don't give a fucking shit about... The sharks literally have no motivation. They are sharks.
As they've gone over.
Right.
Richard Dreyfuss very actively...
It's like an eating machine. It just eats.
They didn't say poop. I'm pretty sure sharks... Do sharks not poop?
Sharks poop.
Yeah, he didn't say poop. He said they swim, they eat, or they kill...
By the way, you're not getting Dreyfuss right because you should be pinwheeling your arms around you and kicking your legs up while talking.
They swim, they kill, and they make little sharks.
God, he's a fucking
That's
idiot.
all they do.
He's so bad in this.
The scene where he's like doing the autopsy.
That is one of the worst scenes.
Like, get me a glass of water. Oh God. There's a through the lack. Oh my God, I'm gonna pass out. Oh, there's no body left. Okay, it's a shark.
Or like when they open up the tiger shark to look inside it, then he just launches himself backwards at one point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, this is great audio too. You think about like watching in Alien 3, right? When they crack open Newt, we see that play out on Sigourney Weaver's face.
Yeah.
And it is devastating.
Yeah.
And it's so well acted and so contained and just so brutal. And then you cut to Dreyfuss. If he had that scene, like, whoa, God, they're cracking open the kid. Oh my God.
Richard Dreyfuss, I think, went to clown school
Jesus,
for acting.
he blows.
Yeah, he really
He's the kind of
blows.
actor that doesn't really exist anymore, and you get why. Or
Yeah,
it's
like,
it's not cute.
I think that's
It's not
why
well acted.
no one remembers him, because you're like, oh, all right, Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws, and like, no, he's bad. He's bad at acting. He sucks.
Well, not only is he bad, but he's next to two people who are giving bravura performances that are so interesting.
Mild, bravura. It's so good.
Ugh, and then like this clown boy just squawking.
Maybe we can do a bonus episode about Mr. Holland's Opus,
I would actually do that. Yeah,
just to like get an idea of Dreyfuss as Dreyfuss, because I never saw it, but like that was his only like really starring role.
Well, I mean, Close Encounters.
Close Encounters.
And I've never seen that.
Oh, maybe we should do that as a bonus episode.
Let's just make a list of Dreyfuss-related bonus episodes. Do a Dreyfuss miniseries for our favorite actor, Richard Dreyfuss. I remember growing up thinking I liked him. I think because of Mr. Holland's Opus, because he's a sympathetic character in that, as I remember from childhood. But I haven't seen that since, like, it's
about a man making music, right?
And his son is deaf, and it's ironic because he loves music so much, but his son is deaf.
Oh, so he hates his son.
No, he plays a song. He plays like a John Lennon song or something for him at the end, and the kid feels the vibrations. So
okay.
Like, Dad's playing a song for me.
Wow.
Remember the sirens go off at the 4th of July parade, and his kid doesn't do anything?
I haven't seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just told you I've never seen it.
Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen Mr. Holland's
He fights
Opus.
a shark in it.
Great.
He's like, I'm a music teacher. And oh my God, a shark! Ah!
I didn't like his glasses either. They really did remind me. My dad had the same glasses.
Wow. And your dad was a bad actor, but like in the sense like he was, a bad man. Yeah, to you.
Well,
he made you fight that shark.
Yeah.
To build character.
Put hair on my chest. I got too much hair on my chest now. Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have fought that shark.
His shirts puff like an inch off of his skin.
It sucks.
It's
I have to trim.
Up. Yeah.
To trim.
And speaking of trimming, Spielberg, go back and trim the fuck out of Jaws.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm moving forward like I'm genuinely interested in like, yeah, how do you keep this going? Clearly, critically, this stopped pretty heavily, pretty quickly after this, but I'm mildly interested. I'm hard pressed to say that I'm excited to see another 3 Jaws movies or 4 Jaws. However fucking many we have to do.
It's only 4, and I think I'm also interested. I think it's cool that we get to see. It's sort of like when a show is successful, like I know you didn't really like Stranger Things, but like Stranger Things, like I'm trying to think of other shows like where the first season is just like True Detective, like shows where the first season is really good, it's a story, and then it ends, and then they're like, whoa, people love that, let's make another one, and then they have to write something, and they didn't have any other ideas. So I'm scared because I feel like it could very quickly just become franchise money, just make another one. And we're going to lose everything that was interesting about Roy Scheider, or it could be put in the hands of someone that's really fascinated by it and like make something really good.
So I think we both agree. This really has to focus on Brody and his development and him as a character. He's the best part of this.
Yeah.
I want more of that. I'm assuming it goes to like another town or something. And
who knows, man?
Yeah, I don't know.
This is going to be crazy.
Okay, well, look, when will it end? We're heading off to Jaws 2 next, so I guess we'll close off this episode here and just say, don't be like Richard Dreyfuss ever. Never act like him.
Yeah.
Never behave in the manner he would behave.
Yeah.
If you're doing stuff, think about it. If it's like something he would do, stop.
Remember that's the saying, what would Jesus do?
Right.
Have you heard? No, wait, you're Jewish. You don't know what that means.
I've never heard that phrase before.
Okay,
Who
sorry.
is that?
So he's an old man.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, people like to do what he did.
Sure. What'd he do?
He drank wine, I think.
You ever fight a shark? That should be fucking baller. Imagine if Jesus fought a fucking shark. Holy shit.
Dude, that's happened. Just like Vampire Shark, there's Jesus Shark. We'll look it up. We'll go.
Okay.
We're ending this.
We're going to hit
look
the Bible. We're going to pause, read the Testament, the New Testament, the true Testament, the only one Testament, because Jews did the Holocaust to themselves to create Israel and 9/11.
Oh my God, what's this? This is not for the podcast.
Just Google that. Yeah, Google it later. But yeah, okay. So
we'll be looking at Jesus Sharks, watching Jaws 2. We'll be back next week.
All right, and remember, if you're gonna drink watery whiskey, dump some red wine in there and then chug it in front of your